Now, part of the Red Book is the little book which Jung published during his life and gave only to very well-known friends who he trusted, a book which is extremely mystical, esoterical and Gnostic, and the title is The 7 Sermons to the Dead. In that book, which has been written by the Gnostic sage Basilides, that name was used by Jung, but of course Jung wrote it himself. But you might say he channeled Basilides. Basilides was a Gnostic mystic living in the 2nd century after Christ. And Basilides created or recreated a form of esoteric knowledge around Christ and around the divine, which was quite deviant from the Catholic Church doctrine. That is one of the reasons why we cannot find much about what he really said, because the Church Father in the 3rd and the 4th century after Christ kind of erased that book and gave their own interpretation. Central in the Gnostic work of Jung is Abraxas. And it's not for nothing that Jung went back to Abraxas. He had some visions where he was asked by the dead to re-establish the connection with the divine. And in the book, in the 7 Sermons to the Dead, he starts letting the dead ask, where is God? And he explains in the Red Book that it did not make sense to re-establish the contact with the Christian God, because the Christian God is split in two, the God itself, which is good, and the devil, which is bad. And Jung argued that there must be a higher power, a higher principle, an all-encompassing principle which unifies all dualities and all opposites. And he called that principle Abraxas, a mystical God from the past who has a relation to Christ, and in the Gnostic teachings of Basilides is actually the highest divine principle. It is unnamed and undefined, but in order to relate to it, we have a statue, we have a picture, we have an image of him, a symbol. Because the divine can be known through its symbols. Through its symbols, its power, and you need imagination to relate. Abraxas is a god which probably has his roots in the ancient Egyptian literature and mysticism, because in ancient Egypt the divine principle was known for people via the shape of a human and the head of an animal, to emphasize the divine principles and the divine powers. For instance, Thoth is the god of the magic and the god of the science, and he has the head of an ibis. He's the scribe of the gods, and he's extremely knowledgeable, and he's there always when there are conflicts, to solve the conflicts, also the conflicts for the gods. So in the 2000, 3000, 4000 years ago, people used images to connect to the divine. And Abraxas is the divine principle which is beyond the all-good Christian God and beyond the all-evil devil. God and the devil are divined, but Abraxas is undivined. And you can call Abraxas the entire infinite atmosphere which the ancient ones called the pleroma. And from that entire undefined atmosphere, Abraxas comes forth for us to relate. So you can see the introduction of Abraxas as a task Jung set himself to help us to reconnect to what he called the spirit of the deep, or the spirits of the death. He used a plural. In order to reach the knowledge, the Gnosis of the divine, it is important to develop a number of capacities. One is the capacity to being able to meditate. This is why in our channel we have so much meditation movies. In meditation, your spirit, your mind is empty, and via the emptiness you can talk to the divine. So there is an ancient method which was already known by the Egyptians and which Jung also advocates, is you relate to the Godhead via his symbols and via his altar and via his sigils and via a ritual. Rituals are lost in our society, and rituals are extremely powerful vehicles to reach transpersonal, and all healing power resides in the transpersonal. And that is why I put on my doctor's coat today, because I think it's extremely important to emphasize that we, in this crazy world we created, need to reconnect. And I think, and with me, my friends who all work on the Abraxas project, we think that we should reconnect with each other, with the world, with the animals, and with the divine. And we hope that the meditations created by Jung, but which are much older, with the help of the divine principle, Abraxas, beyond good and evil, can help to reconnect ourselves to our deeper knowledge. And our deeper knowledge, the key to that is in dreams. You should not manipulate your dreams. It's great if you can raise your consciousness in your dreams, but if you dream lucid, don't go manipulate. Just be very passive and see what the spirits of the deep will reveal to you in the dream. Because the dream is the key to directly connect to your own wisdom, which is basically the wisdom of the divine, the Abraxas wisdom. And that is why everything in this channel comes together. Molecular pharmacology, transpersonal states, the divine itself, breathwork, bodywork in general, shamanic bodywork, acupuncture. They are all vehicles to reach a state of wisdom, of Gnosis. And the channel might seem extremely odd for many people, but Jung also took this step. He said in the Red Book, I've been working as a scientist very long, but once I realized the vastness of the spirit of the death, I must say that all my effects and all my work in my life basically is guided by the spirits of the deaths, and I have to, by the spirit of the deep, and I have to reconnect. And my work is basically to reconnect to that vast, vast ocean of wisdom.